Okay, well, welcome everybody to the first in a series of 4 one-hour orientation trainings for new state ombudsman. This is Carol Scott, program or what am I? Ombudsman specialist. We got a kind of a full agenda today, so we're going to just jump right in, and I'm going to ask Amity to start us out. Amity, you are muted if you're talking.
Yes, I said just a minute while I unmute, but you couldn't even hear that part. So let me start over. Hi, this is Amity. I'm the director of NORC. Welcome everyone, and thank you, Carol, for pulling together this orientation series. I don't have the list in front of me, so I don't really remember who is so new to the program that they didn't do this orientation series in June or May or June when we did it virtually. But Carol may have already explained to you, and I'm sure you already read the materials Katie sent you, but usually we do 2 in-person orientation sessions, one at the Spring State Ombudsman Conference and one at the Fall Consumer Voice Conference. And obviously we can't do those, unfortunately, now. So that's why we're doing it virtually and spacing them out 1 webinar per week. So we really miss being able to see you all in person. I think that adds an element that we simply can't get online, but we are really glad that you're participating this way. And please know that you can reach out to us individually anytime, anyone at the center, and we'll get you where you need to go, including identifying state ombudsman that may be best for you to speak with based on whatever issue or challenge or question you have. So with that, we're really glad you're part of the State Ombudsman Network, and we're happy to support you in any way we can. So I was told to keep the introduction brief, so I will do that. And then I'm going to pass it over to Pearl. Oh, actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to pass it to Louise first. But before Louise, if you want to introduce Pearl, Pearl can, of course, share her own information too, but wanted to let you know that Pearl Barnett is the Deputy Director of Operations for Advancing States. And I can't remember if you've already listened to a presentation about our relationship with Advancing States, as well as how the Consumer Voice and NORC, that relationship works. But in short, we receive a grant to operate the Resource Center from the Administration for Community Living, and that goes to Consumer Voice, and they operate NORC. And then we work with Advancing States, and they help us in some of our operations, specifically in providing orientation to new State Unit on Aging and Disability directors, and also providing technical assistance to those directors about the Ombudsman program. So wanted to provide that background before that goes to her. So now I'm going to turn it over to Louise. Thanks, Louise.
Thank you, Amity, and hello, everybody. Great to see you on the call. I think most of you I've met at one point or another, so I think it looks like it. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time today. You'll hear from me more later on, but just as a recap, I am Louise Ryan. I'm with the Administration for Community Living, and I serve as the Ombudsman Program Specialist within the Office of Long-Term Care Ombudsman Programs. Our director of the Office of Long-Term Care Ombudsman Programs is Edwin Walker, and he does wear different hats, but one of them gratefully is director of our office. He will be, I think, participating later on at some point during the, I believe, during the State Ombudsman Conference. And also within ACL, my direct supervisor, Hillary Dallin, is the director of the Office of Elder Justice and Adult Protective Services. And she is a great supporter of the program and served as legal counsel for the Connecticut Ombudsman back in the 90s and holds that experience very near and dear to her heart. So, you know, we have a really great supportive little team at ACL that works on the Ombudsman program. Just a couple other things about ACL. We do have regional administrators. There's 10 of them. So each of you has a local regional contact. And if you've not met that person, I can introduce you down the road in the next week or so. And then the only other thing I wanted to mention was that, what was it? I'm sorry, it's a Tuesday. I'm still getting in gear here. Just when I came to ACL. So I came to ACL in 2011, when at the time we were called the Administration on Aging. And before that, I was the Washington State Ombudsman. Now, a couple things I want to remind you of is that I am not an ombudsman, so anything you tell me in email is disclosable. So any email you send me, if somebody were to do a Freedom of Information Act request, it's quite likely I would have to turn that information over. And I just say that because some things are better to start as a conversation. And then if we want to document an answer, or you want to document a question to get the answer that you need, then we go to email. So I encourage you, if you have really sticky questions about funding, what can I spend my money on, conflicts of interest, ability to do systems advocacy, somebody wants your records, and you're just not sure what to do, sometimes a phone call to me is a better start than an email. So just want to put that out there. Also, just a reminder, we do not appropriate funds. We don't, we are at what Congress gives our agency is, what we get, and then we have direction on how that gets distributed to states. ACL is in the executive branch within the Department of Health and Human Services. So just want to remind you all of that. And so I guess I would just say in closing, don't hesitate to reach out. I am the project officer for the Ombudsman Resource Center. If you come to me and I think maybe the Resource Center can better answer the question, then I'm going to loop them into that. And likewise, they loop me into a lot of questions that you have. So I just want to say we have really, we try to keep our lines of communication open. But certainly people have also called me with confidential issues, and I will certainly hold your confidences as well. So just know that I'm a resource, and I'm available by phone or email. And both are fine, but just keep in mind with email, if it's something sensitive, you may want to start with a phone call first. My phone number is on my information, and it does come through my computer now. So I answer the phone on my computer, and I also have a work cell phone number that I can also share with you. So with that, I'm going to turn it back. Should I turn it over to Pearl at this point? Pearl, I'm going to turn it to you.
Thank you, Louise. And thanks, Amity. I tend to forget to introduce myself. So thanks. Carol, is it possible that I can share my screen?
Absolutely.
Thank you. You might have to, awesome, you got it. And do you all see the PowerPoint presentation up?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So I am a Zoom lover, and I spend a lot of my time playing around with functionality in Zoom. So I would like to start out by, if you can all open up your participant screen, and so just the participants list. And if you are a new ombudsman, click yes. And if you are not, and you are an ombudsman, click no. Okay. So I have about, looks like 2 new ombudsmen, 3, 3 new, 3 not so new. Okay. Oh, 4 not so new. Okay. Sounds good. Awesome. Thank you. It helps me because I've done this presentation before, and I want to know where in the room we are. So it looks like from the ombudsman about half and half. So again, I'm Pearl Barnett, from Advancing States. And let's see, Advancing States, we are the association that represents the state aging and disabilities directors, as well as the LTSS administrators, from the state. So each state is our member. Um, and I know some of you will report to the state unit on aging director, and that person will be our member in your state, but the state overall is our member as well. So I do want to point that out. So a part of our role is to help state leadership advance systems, create innovation, articulate policy from the national level, and then also the policy from state to state, sharing of ideas and innovations and best practices. So we do technical assistance by looking at kind of 6 tiers of issues that we address. One thing is promoting community integration. We also encourage health and wellness, supporting consumer access, promoting sustainability, preventing abuse and exploitation, and also measuring quality. So I'll talk a little bit about what we do in each one of these areas. So let's see, from promoting community integration, we have the Managed Long-Term Services and Supports Institute, where we encourage innovation using managed long-term services and supports. We also have recently been added to the HCBS TA Center as a partner on that. So we will be also providing assistance to all Medicaid, LTSS, home and community-based services, 1915C waiver members. So that's most of the states. There's a couple of states that don't have 1915C waivers, but that's overall most of the states. From encouraging health and wellness, we do work with oral health. We also do work with the evidence-based programs that ACL offers under the Older Americans Act. And from supporting consumer access, we house the National Information Referral Support Center. We also are a partner on the MIPPA Resource Center, and we're a partner, and we also actually offer multiple states with consulting work around their no wrong door systems. Promoting sustainability. We recently had the Business Acumen Resource Center. We've winded down that work, but we still have all of the resources that were developed through the Business Acumen Resource Center on our website. So you can go to our website and find out the different things that we did around the Business Acumen Resource Center. And then, of course, preventing abuse and exploitation includes our work here with NORC, as well as some of our state consulting work where we look at their APS systems and their and their overall aging departments and reorganizations. And then for measuring quality, we operate the NCIAD consumer survey, which kind of tells the states information about how people who are receiving LTSS feel within their services. So at Advancing States, we advance states by collecting, analyzing, facilitating the exchange of information among states, and innovate state policy options program models, service delivery strategies, and management practices. A lot of the work that we've done over the past, I guess, over 6 months now, as it relates to COVID, has helped states realize or think through some of the ideas around switching their programs, and what that looks like as far as home delivered meals, what that looks like as far as adult day services, what that looks like even as far as how their long-term care facilities are operating and meeting the health and wellness requirements in the state. So we work with our members to have those discussions and also to interact with other states to see what innovations those states are doing. We also foster strategic relationships through aging and disability networks. Across states and at the national level. We interact with ACL and CMS and other key national organizations regularly to make sure that we're fostering those relationships with the states and federal partners, as well as other partners such as AARP, and different MCOs that we work with. So fostering those relationships across different national partners. And then we also provide real-time information and analysis on federal policy. So if you are subscribed to our Advancing States Friday update, then you will see whenever federal appropriations come out, my colleague Damon Terzaghi quickly turns around analysis on those appropriations and how those impact us in aging and disabilities and how they impact the states. And also we'll do that for different regulatory and legislative issues that come up. And this kind of will lead to my next conversation. We also look at that as far as policy changes that come down from either ACL or CMS. And to that point, as a part of our relationship with NORC, we in 2019 released the revised primer for state agencies. We worked with closely with ACL and Consumer Voice on looking at the best practices of the long-term care ombudsman program final rule and how states were using that to interact with their state units on aging and the long-term care ombudsman program within their states. And that primer gives great examples and details as to how to understand the rule, how to utilize the rule in your state, and what things from a state director's position they should be considering when they're working with you as ombudsman. And you as ombudsman can also use that to serve as information to provide back to your state director if they say, well, we can do this because this is the role of the ombudsman. This gives some detailed information in writing in an easy to read format. And so we do provide this to many states and ombudsman per request. And that gives really great details and information about how that relationship works. Carol, if I am going too long, feel free to give me the pause button at any point. So I talked a little bit about NCIAD. NCIAD is a survey that we use to look at outcomes and quality of life of people receiving long-term services and supports. This can be in institutional settings or in the community settings, and that is dependent on the state's choice. We are doing NCIAD this year. It is usually an in-person survey. This year, of course, we're not doing an in-person survey. So we're working with about, I think it's 10 states right now that are doing some phone-based and web-based surveying of the individuals. It needs to be a verbal communication. So at minimum, it's phone-based. It's not a survey that you can fill out online and submit, but it needs to be talked through. So the web-based would be through something like a Zoom webinar or online meetings that you're interacting and looking with the individual as you're doing that survey. But with those survey results, we provide that back to the state, and we provide comparison information so that you can compare your state to other states and how your consumers are feeling related to their outcomes and quality of life from state to state. That national report actually is coming out this month, so be on the lookout on that report, and you can do some comparisons with your state and other states. We do some infographics to provide resources. And these infographics are not only do we provide it at the national level, but we work with states to provide this information at the state level. So we can take one of our national infographics and we can add in your state specific details to these infographics. And these are able to be used at when you're advocating. It pictures where you can take to your legislators in your state, and you can say, hey, this is the national information, this is our state information, this is why we need the resources in long-term care, for instance. So you can take, let's say, the Aging in America infographic and suggest, this is where we are. Even the disabilities infographic talks about how people are getting older. People are living longer with disabilities and they're needing more long-term care. So taking that information and utilizing that for advocacy is something that many people are able to do, and we're able to work with states to show how they can do that at their state level. A new project that I am spending a lot of my time on is called connecttocarejobs.com. And it is a portal for long-term services and supports to find jobs. At the beginning of COVID, one of our state administrators came to us and said, we need some help because we have all of these vacancies in long-term care facilities, and we need to connect them to job seekers. So we began working with one of our partners, Centene Corporation, and they kindly worked with us to develop a website that allows an employer to enter their job needs, a job seeker to enter their availability, and then the website matches according to the area in which those individual lives, and it gives the information to the employer to contact. The employer can then contact the job seeker and talk about the next steps in the hiring process. So from this aspect, the employers are able to use Connect to Care Job as a easy portal to manage their staffing needs. Job seekers are able to go to one portal and pretty much say, I'm looking for work, and it goes to every employer in their area that's looking for their position and their in the area that they're willing to work, basically. And so it gives them that, it's like a virtual job fair. At first I was calling it like match.com for work, but I'm liking a virtual job fair now because you get to, put out to multiple employers that you're interested in looking for work. It is the employer's responsibility to follow through with ensuring that you pass all the appropriate background checks and all of that, but you're able to put your information out to a variety of employers at once. And then it will help states with actionable data of workforce needs. So the states will be able to see high level information about which facilities or organization employers are needing assistance. and it'll give us some high level data to provide to our federal partners as well. We have two public policy committees that are standing committees. One focuses on aging issues, and the other focuses on Medicaid LTSS issues. Adam Mosey, who you will meet, he oversees the Older Americans Act Aging Issues Policy Committee, and Damon Terzaghi oversees the Medicaid LTSS Policy Committee. We release a multitude of papers, public policy reports on different topics and positions as it relates to different legislation or rules that come out. And we've recently done some survey reports around COVID. We're looking at reports around organization of different state agencies, even where the Ombudsman program fits across the states. So where if you fit within the state unit on aging, if you're outside of that, it's providing some of that detailed information that allows us to look from state to state to understand what programs look like and how programs are managed. And then we do an annual survey. Either we do a state of the state report, or we do an economic survey of the states. Both reports provide information about where the states are in their service delivery. The economic survey is one that we do in collaborations with AARP. We have a Friday update that we have over 11,000 recipients receive that we send out every Friday with all of our really broad range of topics and resources. Bill, did you have a question?
No.
Okay, awesome. So this is an electronic free weekly newsletter. We send updates on federal, state, local policy updates, funding opportunities, publication releases, and it goes out to state agency directors and really anybody who subscribes. We have the Medicaid integration tracker that talks about changes that are being made within the Medicaid systems at a state level. It has a nice clickable map, so you can go to your state and see any new things. I was a state Medicaid administrator, and honestly, sometimes I found out about changes through the Medicaid integration tracker in my state. So sometimes things fall through the crack. Even being, the head of the older adult 1915C waiver, I would look at the integration tracker like, wait, when did that happen? And call my counterparts over at the Medicaid agency and get some information. So this is up to date, and it really does give some good detailed information about what's going on from state to state. And then we also have 2 meetings. They're generally in person, of course. This year they are both virtual. So our fall meeting, our HCBS conference, it will be a virtual conference. It will be December 1st through the 3rd, and then 8th through the 10th. Registration is currently open. We are still having the fun events and learning that we normally do. We are known for our dance party. We are having a virtual dance party with the same band that is usually at our HCBS conference. They're going to do a virtual dance party for us. So we're gonna still have fun. We'll also have Grubhub that's sent to people's homes for their lunch or dinner, depending on what time zone you're in. And so it's going to be very interactive. We're trying to get it as much like our normal in-person conference as we can using technology. So I'm going to zoom through some of these, but we do consulting work in the different states. And I talked a little bit about all of these already, but we like when states are looking at LTSS system redesign, they bring us in to look at more details, also no wrongdoer implementation, and streamlining waivers. And also we work with the National Center on Advancing Person-Centered Practices and Systems to help states implement person-centered practices throughout their systems. We have the hcbs.org, which is a clearinghouse of all HCBS resources. And that is a plethora of great detailed information, research, policy making, program development. It's a one-stop shop online library for all things HCBS. And we have the Advancing States IQ. Some of the courses includes adult protective services, cultural competence to serve diverse aging populations, INR, Medicaid 101, we're getting Aging 101 up and running. So we have a plethora of different courses that you can take if you are new to aging and disabilities or LTSS, or if you just want to brush up on your skills in any particular area. I talked a little bit about the National Information and Referral Support Center, and we do monthly webinars. This is the ACL grant as well. We also have distribution lists for the INR. This is mostly focused for INR specialists and AIR certification program. So that is a publication that we recently released based on the survey of the aging disability INR agencies. It's found on our website. Talked about MLTSS. This is a list of different resources. There is a new resource that will be released this week on Medicaid and Medicare integration and how states are utilizing, how states are integrating Medicaid and Medicare in their states. And like I said, we also work with the MIPPA Outreach Center. And some of we've gotten some different things that we've done since COVID happened. So we are again working with the SHIP TA Center, and we're doing some work around integration there. We are working with I talked about NCAPS. We're working with the HCBS TA Center as a subject matter experts to help with HCBS 1915 CU waivers. And we're doing a plethora of things to make sure that we are helping with the changes that are going on in our network right now.
Pearl, can you explain what MIPPA is?
Yes. Okay. So MIPPA is the is basically an information and referral center. It's called Medicare Improvement for Patients and Providers Assistance Program, and it provides special assistance for older adults and people with disabilities who need assistance with Medicare. So they have Medicare savings programs that can give you discounts on your Medicare premiums if you participate in MIPPA program, and MIPPA helps you navigate that work. I mentioned SHIP. SHIP similarly, not like MIPPA is not connected to the Medicare savings program, but SHIP is more so connected to helping you navigate which Medicare plan to pick. I don't know how many of you have looked at Medicare, but Medicare is super complex, And a lot of people do not understand all of the different options that you get to choose from when you're in that private market that Medicare is operated through. So SHIP really explains those differences and helps recipients pick out which market that they would like to participate in and which one is the best fit for them. So we work with both of those resource centers with ACL.
Great, thank you. And one other question from Amanda Scott in Idaho regarding the virtual job fair. She's wondering how employers in the states know about this. So is there someone at each state unit on aging that's promoting?
So yes. So the way that it works is the state has to come on board for us to participate in the connecttocarejobs.com. So the state has to agree that they're going to participate with us. And when the state comes on, they identify a person in the state who is going to be responsible for that marketing to both job seekers and employers within that state. Of course, the state gets a lot of great data from participating, and it's virtually free. All you have to do is do the work of approving the employers. So the employers have to be approved by the state to come into the site, so that we're making sure that, you know, it's no bad actors. The states are saying these are true LTSS employers or healthcare employers. The state can go beyond LTSS actually if they choose. We don't have any states that have chosen to do that yet, but they have the opportunity to do so. So approving employers, and then also marketing to the employers and job seekers in your state is the state's role.
Thank you.
Thank you. So this right here is the end of my presentation, but this is our staff, and this is the remaining staff. So this is it. We do a lot with a few people, but these are the people who do all of those things that I just talked about. And so you can find us, our pictures and our name on our website, advancingstates.org, and our email address are listed on the website directly if you want to reach out to any of us for any reason. And like I said, Adam Mosey is our director of aging, and you will meet him in the future. He will likely do these type of reports in the coming future. And then you can also reach out to me at any time as well. So do we have time for questions?
Absolutely. In fact, one of the homework pieces was to have people peruse through the primer. So I'm hoping that people might have looked in there and they might have a question for you in addition to the information that you presented today. And actually, Patty Hall from Wyoming just asked, how does she get a copy of the primer?
Okay, so if you want a hard copy of the primer, then you can just send an email to me, and then I will get that sent out to you. So you can send an email to me there, and we'll get that sent out to you in your office. Yes, hard copies. So if
I would suggest asking for a few hard copies so that you can share it with, say, your state unit director or other people in your state agency that you work with, or with legislators or the governor's office. It's a very helpful report, I think. So.
Thank you, Louise. Yeah, most people request about 5 hard copies, and we send those out to you. And yes, Amity, thank you. There are digital copies available on the NORC website as well as the Advancing States website.
Stephanie just asked, how often are they updated? Oh my God.
So So this last one took a while to update. And I think that's why Carol is saying, oh my God. But right now, I think what the biggest thing is they update when there are major changes in the federal policy. And so there hasn't been any major changes to the federal policy since this last primer was put out. So everything in there is still applicable now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Pearl. This is Amity, and I just want to echo that you're absolutely right. It only gets updated with major changes, and the reason this version came out was to make sure that we included information about the rule. So I don't see another version in our near future, unless ACL Louise tells me otherwise.
I think one of the best parts of it are the kind of conversation starters when there's an issue. I think it's great information if the leadership of the state unit has read over like a couple of pages or a chapter of this, and then both parties kind of can see here, maybe the issue is speaking to the legislature. I mean, there's good information there to show how the state unit can support the ombudsman program without stifling them, which is another reason to get copies, to have people actually look at them rather than having to read. Although reading it online is fine, but there is something about having it in your hand.
Now, it does take a little longer to get out because I'm not in the office every day, but we can't, we'll get those out. It just, we used to, if you sent me an email, it would be going out that day or the next. It might take a week before we can get it out to you, but hopefully that'll be okay. I ask for a little bit of patience during the COVID work restrictions.
Any other questions? Pearl, thank you.
Thank you.
Great overview. So one of the other homework assignments was making sure that you knew what your username and password were for accessing the private side of the nursing home. And I just, you don't have to actually waive or say yes or anything, but I'm hoping that all of you knew what your username and password was without having to ask Katie, because nobody asked me. So I'm thinking maybe you slid around me to do that. But, the reason that there is a private side is that there is information that's just helpful for just state ombudsman. I mean, it's not that there's anything highly secret, but that there's just information that it's not necessary to share with everybody. So I hope that you guys will noodle around in the private side and look at the ton of resources that are there specifically for you and for you to manage your job. The third homework assignment was to watch the video that Katie did that kind of explains some of the highlights. So if you didn't get a chance to watch it, it's a very short video that explains some of the resources that are on the private side. So the summary sheets, the highlights document, the policy manuals, some of the COVID stuff. As you guys know, we've been adding on a ton of stuff there. I'm wondering, did anybody find anything on the private side that you hadn't seen before, that you were glad that you knew was there? This is the participatory part of
Do
this.
you have
Do you have pants that match this in your closet by any chance?
I don't think so.
I don't think that was a question for us, but thank you.
Just wondering.
I should show you. I don't think I have it. I don't have it. No, I don't have it ready to go. We had a great picture of the staff at our NORC staff meeting that I'll share at some point with you guys. It's pretty cute. Okay, so we're a little bit off of our schedule and we're going to do the ethics thing another time. So I'm wondering if anyone has any questions that they would like to ask on any topic. We will be doing a kind of more formal Ask the Mentor, but now that we've kind of got a lot of you new guys, is there anything that's come up in the last week or two, something you've come across that you wanted to know more about, or wondering if someone who's done the job for a while could provide some input or guidance? Okay, if you're talking, you need to unmute yourself.
So I'll just say a couple things. I guess for those of you that are new to this, I really hope that you come to embrace and love this job, even for all of its challenges, because I think it was, for me, probably the most rewarding job I ever had, because you never get bored. You're always learning. You're doing incredible work helping people. And, primarily you're, helping the residents to live their best life possible. But through that, there's that kind of ripple effect of helping staff, helping families, helping other, the kind of the industry as a whole, that you can have a huge impact on your long-term care services and supports that makes life better for everybody. So I hope you stick with it. We've had a little turnover the past couple of years, not a little, a lot. So I'm really hoping that folks will come to embrace the work. And it is hard. It takes a long time to learn it. And really you think you know everything and then you discover you don't. So don't ever think that you do. And I'm still there. I'm still learning in this job and still, how many times have I read Section 712 of the Older Americans Act, and then all of a sudden I see some little thing that I hadn't realized before, so you really never stop learning. So it's a tough job. It really does take a couple years to feel some level of confidence, and that's okay. Rely and reach out to your peers. They're willing to help you. And certainly as is ACL and NORC. And so, it can feel lonely sometimes. So just remember to reach out. Sometimes you have to do the reaching out because people are busy. So don't hesitate to do that.
Yeah. Lisa's number one speed dial. This might be, was anybody have any? Okay, I'm not seeing anybody unmute, or, this might be a great time to try to share a video that we're actually going to have on the conference platform. But let me see if this thing will work. And if you can hear it. Well.
I think if you click on the picture with the arrow.
Oh, there you go. I was trying to read it all. Let me know if you, can you hear that? Can you hear her?
Can't hear it.
I don't hear it. No.
It's not on.
No.
But it looked like a lovely setting.
Well, poop. We'll have to work on that.
Maybe
Yeah.
is there a speaker setting that you need to play with on there?
I need to probably hook up a speaker to my computer and see if
I
that
mean,
works.
within the video itself.
Oh, yeah, no, because I can hear it. So, well, we'll figure that out. What it is, so you can look for it on the conference platform tomorrow or Thursday. This is actually 5 state ombudsmen who've retired in the last 10, 15, 20 years. It includes Esther Hauser, who was the state ombudsman in Oklahoma for 30 years. And she and Bill Whited are the only 2 people who've ever been the state ombudsman in Oklahoma. Hollis Turnham, who was a longtime state ombudsman in Michigan. Barbara Frank, who was a longtime consumer voice, NICNR, the National Citizens Coalition for Nursing Home Reform worker, and then a state ombudsman for 4 years. Sarah Slocum, who is a state ombudsman there's George Petrosky, who was the Wisconsin state ombudsman. And then Becky Kurtz, who was the Georgia state ombudsman and then the national ombudsman. There's Barbara Frank. I think Barbara was the last one. So who am I missing?
Yeah, Becky was the director of the Office of Long-Term Care Ombudsman at ACL for about 6 years.
So anyway, oh, you guys weren't even watching that anyway. Okay, never mind. Okay, we're down to staring at each other unless somebody, Amity, does anybody have any questions? Conference tomorrow or Thursday?
Thursday.
So this is Amity. I just wanted to pipe in since we have some time. And I believe Katie just sent out kind of a final reminder email, and I would strongly encourage you to click on your attendee link and play around on the platform before just joining on Thursday. Because this is all new. It's not a regular Zoom meeting where you just click and join. So I just want you to take some time and figure that out and get comfortable. Visit the lobby area that has a lot of the downloads and other items that we'll explain in the welcome. So just take some time. The networking time on the schedule is at the end of each day. And if I remember correctly, Carol, folks did not want to talk about business. They really want an opportunity to get to know each other and maybe even play some games. And so we'll just spend some time getting to know each other because, as I mentioned earlier, that is one of the most valuable things about getting together in person. And unfortunately, we can't do it, but we want to give you some time. And it's not recorded, FYI. So whatever happens in the workshop stays in the workshop as you get to know each other. So wish we could all be with you. I hope this is the second best thing. And just take some time and really read through that email that Katie sends with the final reminders. And if you are a speaker or facilitator, go through that as well, because she'll also send out very detailed points. So that's all I have. Thank you all. And I realized I didn't turn on my camera. So thanks.
We thought it was just a black and white name that was talking to us.
Yeah,
So
coming to you from the void. Yes.
Hey, well, hey, you will be getting an evaluation. Would appreciate some feedback on the information today, and we'll look forward to seeing you the next 2 Tuesdays. The final and fourth presentation will be on Wednesday, the day after the election. Several states have a holiday for the election day. So the next 2 Tuesdays and then the following Wednesday. So with that, I want to thank Louise, and Pearl's already left, but I want to thank Pearl and Amity for guiding us today. And oh yeah, I'm with Lisa in Arizona. No day off on election day here, but so anyway, thank you all. As always, if there's any questions that you have, please feel free to reach out to NORC staff, to Louise, to your mentor, and most importantly, just any other state ombudsman. Just so important that you not at all feel like you're the only one out there. So have a great day, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Bye-bye.
No, Thursday.
Oh yeah, we look forward to seeing you Thursday. Good point.
Carol, you keep freaking me out by saying tomorrow and next week.
Oh, Carol, thank you, by the way, for sending out that notice about Charlotte. I've
Welcome.
asked Carolyn to set up a virtual electronic get well card.
Perfect. And I think that several people are also going to send hard mail. There is something special about getting something in the mail. But yeah, I saw that from Carol, and that's great.
Okay.
She appeared from her emails. She is very upbeat, but it's just, it knocks you on your butt. Oh,
Do you have an address for her, or are you just sending it to her office?
I have an address. I'll send it to you.
Okay, thanks.
I think it was in the email, right?
I don't know that she was on there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,